Due to the graphic nature of its content, listener discretion is advised.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for...
On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, the Cigars and Sea Stories team, all of us, Tim, Bennett, Jocelyn, Mike, sitting down in the Cigars and Sea Stories studios and talking via Skype with Carlos Garcia and Tony Solomon of Cigar Nights for Vets. Now, is that your spearheaded initiative? Is that your biggest thing that's on the radar right now? Or are you guys, focusing on different areas first as far as your approach?
As far as the Cigar Night for Vets itself right now, we're focusing on an event. It's just an event to get the vets out, man. And, in that event, it's just about peer support, networking, building that camaraderie, and, honoring each other through service and friendship. So it's not really like we're not making a huge change, just more of reaching those that aren't being reached.
Right on. All right, and what spurred that as far as, we're going to go into your military service, don't get me wrong, as far as where you deployed and what have you. But what spurred that notion specifically of the camaraderie of veterans coming together, and especially on cigars? Like, what's the hinging mechanism there?
Well, in Iraq, I was there with the medical unit, and, we were doing 12-hour, 14-hour days. And our downtime, we'd go up on the roof and have a cigar. And that was basically our decompress, And when I came back home, I felt alone, I guess you could say. Like I knew people, I had acquaintances, but I didn't have, that military family that we obviously are all used to. Mm-hmm. And this was just a way for me to bring that back. And while we do smoke cigars at Cigar Night, it's more of the metaphor of just bringing everybody back together and, bringing back to what we miss the most is obviously our brotherhood,
No, that makes perfect sense. Absolutely. So you, Carlos, actually, both of you were in the U.S. Army, correct?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. And Carlos, what unit were you in, brother?
I was the 47th Combat Support Hospital out of Fort Lewis, Washington.
What?
Lewis McCord, baby.
Oh, yeah. Lewis has some great stories.
And then you said you had deployed. When and where did you deploy?
2005 to 2006, I went to Iraq on Cobb Spiker.
Oh, okay.
We were there. I think we were there with the 101st, I believe, supporting their mission.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, right, I know where that is.
Tim, you're familiar with the Tikrit area?
Well, I'm familiar with Fob Spiker. I know where it's at. That's about the extent of my familiarity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we broke our company broke up into two units. We had one in Mosul and one in Tikrit.
Right on.
Cool.
Very cool. So when you got out. When you got not just out of the Army, but when you got out and you transitioned overall, and now you're into civilian life, what'd you wind up doing, for work, education, things of that nature? What'd you do during your transition that led to this?
Well, my initial transition wasn't so I guess you could say easy. Mm-hmm. Kind of got into some things and had a little bit of issues that eventually brought me here to Houston to be around family for some support. And I was introduced to the GI Bill, and then once I started going to school, I started meeting other vets in the area. I started talking with the community veterans and felt that I had a natural knack to just develop that group, that bond. And so from that, it was vets telling me what they wanted, not just out of an organization, but what they felt they missed and all that. So that all culminated into what Cigar Night for Vets eventually came to be.
So it was like talking with fellow veterans and trying to figure out the feedback and where the need was.
Yeah.
That really led towards it. That's cool. That's market research for you.
Yeah, just taking what everybody likes and what everybody doesn't like and trying to, make it a possibility. And then also, I volunteered here for a good 2 years with the local nonprofit, the Lone Star Veterans Association. Mm-hmm. And I helped them do like a barbecue cook-off and a chili cook-off. Again, these things were just trying to bring vets out to what we all like: food, cigars, and drinks. We just love partying. So
right.
That's my way of doing it. But but doing it in a way where we're also providing some type of service as well. Because I don't want just people coming out and getting schmaced. I want them to actually get something out of it. So we'll have organizations there, or we'll have some career or some community resources that are just there networking, just talking to people, getting to know people. So when they make an appointment, it's a more personal interaction than if it's just someone coming in out of nowhere to talk about something.
So, Tony, is that how you guys linked up?
Yeah,
that was through Lone Star?
That's exactly how we linked up over at Lone Star Veterans Association, was working over there. And Carlos was, just a young man that really wanted to volunteer, give back to the community, and had a lot of ideas. And then when I transitioned over to my current employer over at Mental Health America of Greater Houston, I always had my eye on Carlos. He was studying psychology, and he said, "I'm going to come bug you when I graduate." And he was just very persistent about that. And being able to see him bring out a good crowd of veterans and just put lots of veterans out there. Sometimes they put on a front, or they're playing a lot of ego or a card, or it's really nice when you're able to see just good people trying to bring people together and help others, and they do it with their heart and soul.
Now, Lone Star, that's where you were working when we met, right?
When we met, I was, I think I just got on over at Mental Health America of Greater Houston, and but it was very recent. But yes.
Well, just for our viewers out there, Tony is a fellow EBV graduate with Michael, Bennett, and Tim. So that's our connection.
Good deal.
EBV, it was a damn good time. I'm telling you what, man. I honestly, I share this with people all the time. I went there a Marine. I came home a veteran. It's very, I don't know. I'm one of these people who don't.
It's a great way to put it.
Well, and I don't fit in anywhere. And when I went to EBV, I was like, yes, like, this is awesome. These people are motivated, want to get shit done, want to add positive, effective change to the world. It's like, yes, that's awesome.
Man. You brought up a good point. So at Cigar Night for Vets, I give it a little bit of announcement. I kind of pump the crowd up a little bit, and there's one thing that I do. I never ever call branches out. Like, how we usually do in a big group, like who's Marine, who's Army. I don't do that. I just tell them who are all the veterans at, because that's my theory is, and I always say this to everybody, we all did different things in the military, but we all pretty much have the same coming home story. And that's what I like to focus on at the Cigar Night for Vets, because that's, who knows what's doing. Someone might be an HR person, regardless of what they did in the military, there might be an HR person that might be able to get you a job here, or wherever you're at locally, So we always focus on just everybody being a vet and everybody helping each other out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to add on to that. A lot of me and my friends, we all joke. It's like every vet you meet, or it seemed like every vet for a while, was some sort of scout, sniper, starship trooper. And we were like, where were all the damn truck drivers in Iraq? There had to be a few of them out there.
No, the truck drivers were driving missions with special forces, dude. Didn't you know that?
There you go.
The same with all the cooks, man. They were delivering food to MARSOC out on like some OP in like the middle of nowhere.
That's exactly.
Yeah, and they're jumping out of a space shuttle, doing inserts, straight off the space station and stuff.
With MRE strapped to their back.
And the dealer calling in airstrikes from space.
Right, and that's a really good point, because that's one of the and it's unfortunately it's a self-imposed stigma kind of that us as veterans impose upon ourselves, that for some reason everybody they have a hard time just being themselves, especially when they first get out, and they want everybody to think that they're a meat eater or some kind of ninja, and it's just not necessary, especially once you get to a point. You just want to be around brothers and sisters, man. You don't care what a guy did, and that's something that I like to hear this from you guys, because it's something that I fight against every day doing what I do, and us on Cigars and Sea Stories, is to break down those walls between veterans. That just it's unnecessary, man. You know,
It's very unnecessary. I'll give you an example. When I came out, and I guess I'll just call out a city, Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yut.
Yeah, they don't.
Hey, I know somebody from there.
Yeah, it could be.
Sorry.
Yeah, it could
Sorry
be
about
me.
that.
I didn't find that a very veteran-friendly city, and
You are so right, dude. It is not.
and so if you want to be real about things, coming back, it was immediately I got the vibe when I'm out going to school, going to when I want to go out have a drink on a Friday or Saturday night. They were definitely profiling folks, and they were definitely
Which
giving.
school were you going to? Did you go to UNCW or Cape Fear?
I was at Cape Fear. Because, we can talk about that a little bit more, but yeah, North Carolina showed me no love in my transition. Unfortunately, I love it. It's a beautiful state. Parents are retired out there, but it was very difficult coming because I already had 3 years of college. Coming in and just trying to transfer UNC Wilmington, ECU, they just weren't about it at all. And so I was like, all right. I got to do something with my life. I can't just do nothing. And but at the same time, it's a beach town. It's beautiful. But seeing just my civilian friends who are graduating with good degrees, engineering, biology, all that good stuff, they're just waiting tables or bartending, and that's why I had to get the hell out of Houston. Get the hell out of Wilmington and head down to Houston.
Yeah, there's no jobs there, dude.
It's tough.
Well, and it has to do with the people also that, like, who we are as individuals, and then also the community that's there. Like, if you go to Oceanside, California right now, it's not very veteran friendly. It is in pockets, but if you're in like Oceanside proper and San Clemente and stuff like that, a lot of those different areas aren't very veteran friendly. And then when you get into different communities and pockets of Orange County and California, you start to like open it up. And I only say that though because I came down here with serious trepidations to Raleigh, North Carolina, and I really had no idea, I guess you could say. Like, I knew that it was veteran friendly. I knew that it was growing as far as the economic structure of it and stuff, but I have been pleasantly surprised at how many really, really cool people and young people, 24 to 35-year-olds that I actually meet that are downtown, and they're like, oh, no shit, you're a veteran, huh? Like, who are you with? And, like, they're asking the right questions. I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah, and
yes!
they're civilians, right?
Right. And they're like a fucking hipster. And you're like, I was in the Marine Corps infantry. And they're going, oh, okay, cool. Did you deploy?
So
it's like, what? How do you know what to ask? My uncle was in the military. Yes. Okay.
That's awesome.
The
big thing with Wilmington for me, that's where I did my first transition from when I got out in 96. And completely failed. I mean, epic failure. So I know exactly what you're talking about, Tony, in Wilmington. I love the city, though, because you're right there. It's laid back. But the problem, it's like that whole area around Wilmington, it's like it's in a vacuum, like a bubble. And it's like, I mean, you just drive an hour north in Lejeune. You're there in Lejeune. Yeah. And Jacksonville is, it's Jacksonville, North Carolina. So, there's veterans everywhere, though.
Yeah. Guys say the same thing about Fort Bragg also.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the same
about
thing.
Fayetteville and stuff.
But as soon as you get like a half hour out of Fayetteville, it's weird, man. There's like this changeover. I don't know.
Yeah, I think what these places have in common is the fact that they're, because they're so close to these major military installations,
right.
They get, I don't know, you can call it military overdose.
Whatever. Yeah, they get tainted or something.
Yeah, they're just fatigued, because the military is always in their face, and they've been dealing with it for decades, ever since the base was there back in World War II or whenever, and so a lot of the locals are just like, yeah, veterans, whatever, but yeah, you get right outside of town about 30 minutes, and all of a sudden it's a whole different story, because there's a lot of salt of the earth people out there that just they really, they care, and a lot of them have military connections because somebody in their family served or whatever. but they're not right outside the the back gate where everything's in your face all the time. So they're not sick of you already.
So can you tell that Tim lives right outside the base, or
Right.
what?
Yeah.
Well,
I live just so you know, I live smack dab in the middle between Cherry Point Marine Corps Air Station and Camp Lejeune. So it's like 30 minutes to the front gate of either one. So I'm kind of outside a little, but I'm really sort of right smack in the middle of the
gorgeous place.
area.
Feel free to visit whenever you can. And
Yeah.
spend money there. It's fantastic.
Yep. Come on down.
Hey, Carlos, I have a question for you.
What's going on?
What is your favorite cigar?
So I got to tell you, and I do like Romeo and Juliet's, but I like Olivia's too, and I'll tell you why. The cigars that I buy for Cigar Night are Olivia brand, and they're actually it's a bundle that I buy. It's about $36.50 for 20, which you can't really get anything better than that when you're trying to buy
no kidding, that's awesome.
And but they're a really good light brand. They have a Maduro, but they have the light version as well. And so far, I haven't had any complaints with that, so I'm going to have to stick with Olivia right now. Just because they are my main, that's the one that I buy for Cigar Night.
Now, how many guys do you get that are not cigar, like don't know anything about cigars? They just show up for the camaraderie section of it, like on a given night. Does everybody smoke a cigar or try one? Or
I would say I would go about maybe 35% of the group smoke cigars, and then the rest are just there pretty much to hang out. And we like to push it that way too. I mean, we'll have the cigars ready and supply, but I mean, you don't have to smoke a cigar to come out. But from the pile that I usually put out there, about 35% of that pile always gets taken. So yeah.
So we were kind of jabbing and flowing as far as location wise, and Houston is right. It's not necessarily close to a major installation. Correct.
No, it's not. We do have Ellington Airfield, which is more of a reserve station. We do have a lot of National Guard reserve units out here, but nothing fully, full institution.
Right.
However,
it is inside the Republic of Texas, so that's like a major military installation right there, isn't it?
Well, and I only asked though because it's
Texas.
I only asked, though, because it's location-wise, it's not right outside the main gate. So what's the draw? About how many veterans do you guys get at these events?
Well, we've been growing here recently. I would say at the last event, we had about 150. And that's us basically going to other events or other things that are going on and just spreading the word. And a lot of it has been done through word of mouth and Facebook event posts and just people hearing about it.
That's actually a really good turnout.
Yeah, and
it is.
When I talk about it, I tell them, I could speak to them blue in the face about what we're trying to do and what it means to everybody, but I just tell them, just come out and see for yourself. And when they do, it speaks for itself. I mean, it really is family there, and I try and make sure that everybody does feel like family. And awesome. We are actually with this year. We're going to be actually going to San Antonio on October 15th to start one out there. And then I believe we thought Austin would be our next.
Austin, Central Texas, Dallas, then El Paso. That was kind of a charted course.
That's awesome.
You guys are taking the Great Republic by storm, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. We've got one, I think it's like 1.67 million veterans in Texas. We've got over 300,000 veterans in Houston, Harris County alone. Out of that, about 25,000 of them are OIF, OEF vets. So, this is an opportunity to reach out to a large population. And it's really cool because this brings all veterans together. Vietnam veterans, those that never deployed, and then our younger veterans. And it's really cool. What I really enjoyed this summer was they had an evening where they honored a World War II veteran at Cigar Night. And I got to give a little plug to Little J's Bar on Washington Ave in Houston. It's an incredibly supportive, bar and restaurant that's hired a lot of veterans. The owner, Josh, is just an incredible member of this community and has become an incredible asset to Cigar Night for Vets. And it's really cool. This man took half of his bar and put a chalkboard up. And if you lost somebody or just want to honor some of your fellow service members, you can. He's got an incredible. I don't know. She's like an artist.
It's an honor wall. Yeah.
She's an artist, and she goes up there and writes their name in chalk, and that stays permanently
That's
fixed
really cool.
in the bar. And so
Really cool.
I'll give you an example. We were there 3 weeks ago, and there was a gentleman whose brother was KIA over in Afghanistan, and he was a civilian, and he was new to Houston, but he saw his brother's name on the wall. And he just felt, he got a little emotional, of course, but he met a couple of us and really felt like he had some closure and he was home a little bit. And that's a connection and an experience that cannot be duplicated and is very real.
That's what it's all about, my friends.
It is.
It's awesome.
Adding
I just
value
want
to
to say,
the world.
I really like the idea that you guys latched onto the this idea of centering your community outreach around smoking a cigar. I don't know what it is about servicemen and cigars, but when Michael came up with the idea for Cigars and Sea Stories, I don't think we even had a discussion about how do cigars tie into veterans, or how do they tie into Marines, or anything like that. I think we all just kind of intuitively knew that everybody would sort of connect with that. There's just something about the idea of just sitting back and having a cigar. It's a social thing, and it's something that men do, and it's even women. And it's when you're telling your story about how you guys would sit up in Iraq and smoke a cigar, in between missions and things like that. When I was in Iraq, our CO and Sergeant Major would do that. We had a little pit out back that we would burn like scrap pallets and stuff like that, just have like a little campfire thing going on. And all the guys in the unit would come out and just sit and start opening up and talking about whatever. And the Sergeant Major and CO would hand out cigars, and next thing you know, we're all sitting around smoking cigars. So it's very much like what you described. And I don't know, I think there's just something sort of primal, maybe visceral about it, whatever.
That's exactly, Tim. That's exactly it. Being able to, since I guess we were Homo erectus, Cro-Magnon, what's brought human beings together? Fire.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah, man.
And,
Exactly.
When you want to get real across all cultures, getting around a campfire is where it's at. Because once we had fire, that changed the game.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because if you can't have the actual campfire, you got the fire on the end of your cigar that will provide a good substitute. So that's good stuff. Yeah, hey, I'm one of those guys that knows nothing about cigars. Like Bennett was talking about. So you like that one brand. I'm just curious. Do you buy online, or do you buy in a local shop somewhere that you frequent a lot of times, or how do you buy cigars typically?
So I go to a local store here regularly, Serious Cigars, and because they're the ones that have that bundle of the Olivias that I can get.
Yeah.
So that's where I usually go, and then we actually have a cigar vendor, cigar lounge in Katy that is looking to start donating to us and providing us at least 20 or so cigars. And then we're also working on donations, too, from other individuals to bring in more cigars for this event. Because as we grow, it's going to be a lot more individuals. And right now, we're paying out of pocket. So,
yeah, that would get old.
As we grow, I mean, it's getting there. So
if you didn't get the special deals from, say the shop owner saying, hey, we're just going to donate, that aside, are cigars typically cheaper in the shop or online?
Well, I have not even shopped for cigars online. Basically, it's just weird to me, I guess. Like I want to walk into a humidor and get it there. I've never really tried online.
We're about supporting local businesses, and
I was just gonna say that, and that's awesome.
That's definitely that's what Houston's all about as well. There's so many entrepreneurs and small business owners, and being able to go. I go with Carlos every now and then to the shop. He normally is able to cut out during lunch and go do it. I'm stuck in a meeting or something. But when I am able to, it's really nice. But yeah, as this thing starts to roll, really look forward to leveraging those relationships with companies and sponsors to be able to provide an opportunity for sponsorship and for getting cigars out to all of those that come out and attend. But as of right now, we all just pitch in and kind of tide, and it's no big deal, and it's really awesome to be able to do this for our brothers.
Nice. Hey, just so you know, if you guys ever come out our way, I think Bennett, I think you and I went there once, but George's Cigar Shop in Swansboro.
Yeah, dude. That's a pretty great place.
Yeah. So you guys got to come out and hang out with us, and we'll show you one of our local shops. The guy, he has a really thick accent. Not sure where he's from, but I'm trying to pick his brain to learn a little cigar knowledge because, like I said, I don't know any. But yeah, we'd love to have you guys out sometime. Sit by the water and watch the boats come and go and smoke a cigar. Pretty cool.
That guy loves his life, his spot. The cigar shop's it's like a house turned into a cigar shop, and he loves the beauty. He's like, it's so beautiful here. You can tell the guy's in his element. He's like, yes, man, this is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a good place.
Absolutely.
Hey, on the entrepreneurship note, there in Houston, isn't Houston isn't it one of the more veteran-friendly cities in the nation, supposedly?
Oh, it is. It's really incredible. I moved here in 2010. I started going to the University of Houston. Immediately got linked up with a whole bunch of cool veterans that became my mentors, and got plugged in with the Lone Star Veterans Association. It had just been started about a year before that, and I think Forbes magazine ranked Houston the most veteran-friendly city in the U.S.
Yeah, and the other thing I was reading, I think that same article also ranked in the top 10. I want to say it was Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and College Station. I think that all of them were in there. Maybe in the top 20.
Texas really does take care of its veterans. One thing that I'm so impressed with here is the legislature really does take time to try to navigate issues for veterans, plan ahead for what needs to be done to make Texas a more veteran-friendly state, and has really created some incredible and funded some incredible programs that help veterans in regards to peer support, housing, entrepreneurship, transition assistance, all those supportive services. And then being able to come on down here, it was night and day between North Carolina, because when you have universities that hire veterans to be able to process your GI Bill, and when you have county service officers that are really squared away and that are able to file your claims in a timely manner, that's something I didn't have in NC and schools. They were just getting on board. Well, one thing around here is there's an incredible community that hires a lot of veterans, both at the VA, in local government, and then we've got a really strong oil and gas kind of veterans network from all the oil and gas companies, and that's where a lot of vets, especially in Texas, come to Houston for, because Petro kind of runs this state, and being able to go, whether you're working offshore or midstream or upstream, it's really cool because it gives veterans an opportunity to use their leadership skills, their technical experience, and their leadership to really contribute to a company.
I gotta agree with Tony on that. Like when I went back home, I went to Maryland, and there wasn't much there. I didn't know what was there, obviously. But when I came to Houston, it was night and day. I mean, I can't even really explain. It just they had everything here that I needed, and I knew where to go. I knew who to ask.
And you're originally from like the Baltimore area, right?
I'm from all over, actually. Both my parents are in the FBI, so kind of like a military brat. I moved around all over the place, but I spent most of my years in the Maryland area.
Okay. Hey, also, just to bring it up, since I know Tony and I have not had good North Carolina experiences, but I think North Carolina, as of late, has really gotten their act together, and I know Mike can talk more to that. especially in the Raleigh-Durham area.
Yeah, like one of the things that we were invited to, actually, and I would love to bounce some notes with you, especially, Tony, in regard to your active role within, I don't want to say within government, but you understand the resources that are there within your state. You know, both of you do, for that matter. But we're invited into the governor's workforce here in Raleigh. It's down in the Research Triangle Park area. And we convene on behalf of veterans as far as organizations. Anybody who's a veteran-led organization or has a focal point of veterans, you know, can come to the link up. Sometimes we talk entrepreneurship. Sometimes we talk nonprofits. Sometimes we talk, you know, just straight like charitable efforts, so to speak, not just social ventures. But yeah, there's a huge focus, and also one of the things that I like is the liaison here in our state. The veteran liaison to the governor is a 3-star general out of the Marine Corps, so a little Semper Fi action doesn't hurt anytime. But the point is, though, is that if veterans are going to be helping veterans, shouldn't we go to these events? And you know, it's not just civilian or civilian-ran organizations that are looking to help, you know, veterans that are in the community in whatever aspect, whether that's local or, you know, your statewide community. No, veterans need to be involved in that, especially veteran business leaders need to be involved in that, you know. And on the entrepreneurship side of things, what's really nice about being invited into that is it focuses much more on resources from a facility-wise, you know, standpoint, from a structural standpoint, like, do you need an office? Here you go. We as entrepreneurs understand the value in tangible items. It's great being told, like, oh yeah, the VA's got plenty of programs for you. Here you go. And you've got grants and all sorts of things that you can, you know, kind of like snake your way through or whatever, you know, as far as the vine work maze that you've got to do. But here's a tangible solution. And in the RTP, we have things like the Frontier. A little birdie landed on my shoulder and told me that a nationwide incubator is coming here. Unfortunately, I cannot announce that on the air yet. But it's cool. Like the Entrepreneurship Clinic at NC State University is doing great things. Wake Tech University is opening a Veteran Resources Center this upcoming January. So we're starting to get into the game in a huge, huge way. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts and notes on that also, as far as some of the efforts that you guys have in Texas so that we can replicate it here.
It's about freaking time that North Carolina, the friendliest military state in the Union, supposedly, but we all have issues that we have to overcome.
It's really weird, though, man. It's like tobacco farms, and then you've got these fucking military bases in Plainville and shit, and then you've got like RTP, which is the next Silicon Valley. So, I mean, I think that we're in the middle of an identity crisis.
Because on the other side of the state, you got what? Charlotte, giant financial center for the Southeast, basically. Right. And then you even go farther west, and it's like, you know, Asheville, Boone, which is like...
Yeah, you got the Asheville hippies, and then you got the even further west hillbillies out in the Appalachians, so... You got a little bit of everything.
They're all great Americans, damn it.
Absolutely.
And they are.
Well, I mean, it's funny. My buddy invited me out to his wedding in Texas, right? This is my first Texas experience. And I'm not going to lie, man. My family talked shit on Texas when I was growing up. And I was like, okay, you know, we'll see. Like, I'm an open mind kind of a guy. My buddy's like, come on down. This is Austin, right? So he's like, come on down to Austin. It's going to be great. And I'm like, okay, I love shooting guns and fucking, yeah, let's do this. Dude, Austin is not like belt buckle Texas. Like Austin is fucking, Austin's fucking weird. Okay. Now I enjoyed it there. I thought it was a great experience. The green belt, the river, all sorts of crazy cool shit, you know, and it was great. I enjoyed it, but I don't know. I mean, I think we're going to have to make a trip out to Houston for one of these cigar events, boys. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. I've never been to Houston, man. As many times as I've been in Texas. I love most of the towns I've been in Texas, particularly San Antonio, because I got a lot of friends there. But I've never been to Houston. I always heard crazy bad things about the traffic and crap like that. But I got to get down there sometime.
There's a big stereotype on Texas that we're all, wearing, cowboy hats and have got, revolvers on our waists and talk like Yosemite Sam or something.
Yeah, but I want that.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
It's pretty damn awesome down here. Austin, with your experience, Austin's a beautiful city. And there's a phrase in Austin, keep Austin weird. It's just so damn cool down there.
Yeah.
Sounds like Asheville.
Really incredible food and just nature all around you, and just really awesome people. Houston is just another great city because there's just so much here that makes it attractive, especially to a transitioning veteran. You've got great schools. You've got a decent cost of living where it's still affordable to live here. There's a job market. When the recession hit a few years ago, Houston didn't take it too bad. Right now, Houston's hurting because of the price of oil. But it's really nice to see just we also got we're named the most diverse city in the world. And we've got an incredible medical center. And that medical center has become very active in the veterans community as well. I was able to work with them and start a veterans hiring initiative just within the medical center. And they're, first class, world renowned for their cancer research and treatment. And so you just got a lot of good things going for you in a state that's been kicking ass when other states have not been doing so well economically. And they're pro-business down here, and it's about getting stuff done and making the world a better place, brothers.
Tony's point brings in a perfect spot for talking about transitioning veterans in Houston. If you could do it over again, what's one of the biggest things that you would do differently in regards to transitioning from being a warrior to being a civilian?
I would have started school a lot earlier and gotten into the community a lot earlier. And I don't know, I think I would have taken more advantage of the benefits that I got a lot sooner than I did now. And I can't complain. I'm glad everything worked the way it did. But I think if I'd have jumped right in, it would have helped probably with a lot of things that were going on. And so I'd have, things probably would have happened quicker. But if it were me, I would have taken advantage of things and gotten out there and learned what resources were out there a lot earlier than waiting 2 years of nothing to start doing something.
Gotcha. The other question is, it's kind of a segue into that. Did you, when you got out, were you kind of like, I just don't want to be around other veterans, other military, you were kind of like militaried out and just kind of like boom. And for like the first 2 years, did you just kind of run from it a little bit?
No, right afterwards, I did kind of, but it didn't take long for me to, I'll be honest, I regretted the decision of getting out. So it didn't take long. So for those 2 years, that's what I was doing, regretting the decision to get out and not really able to get back in. So
that sounds familiar.
That's
I know.
So I guess that's part of why I did all this, because it's me missing that part as well. For me, that was just I missed it, man.
But at the end of the day, you were able to find a group of brothers and sisters that as veterans, got your back.
Oh yeah. It's tremendous. It's different, and it's I don't miss it as much anymore.
And that's good.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to laugh at you. I was laughing at all of us because the whole bunch of us here at Cigars and Sea Stories have sat around many times and discussed exactly that same issue. How we got out and almost immediately turned around and we're like, oh, I wish I could have got back in.
That's the reality of it. But that's what we're trying to capture at Cigar Night. We know everybody misses it. We know what's missed too. And
right.
So
that's a great point.
So for one night a month, if we can get you out from your daily grind, and then we just have that one day where we can forget about everything and be ourselves again, it just brings it back home, and it'll lessen that missing feeling, And
yeah, absolutely,
that can accomplish a lot within itself. So I think that's why it's so important.
I wanted to go back in yesterday, damn it.
What is the most badass, fucked up, hilarious, or otherwise thing that occurred in your military service?
Well, I did a lot of dumb shit. I mean, I was a part of a combat support hospital, so we had some free time. But this was back when Jackass was on its heyday. And, people were making videos of dumb shit. Steve-O! Yeah, that was me. So I would just like to put the camera in front of me and run into different things. Don't ask me why. But I also wasn't the brightest crown on the box either, so...
So you were running around with a Speedo everywhere?
I wish, man. I can fit in that damn thing, man. But no, I mean, I did a lot of dumb shit. There's not much I can really say. It's just I can't say that in the barracks I was known to be the party animal, and once turned my barracks room into a club, if that's at all possible. So I guess it was inevitable for Cigar Night to happen. I just like to throw parties, I guess.
Nice.
So, maybe this will prompt somebody. I don't know. I heard that one of you had something to do with making a bomb maker take a shit on himself or something like that. Who wants to expound on that?
Yeah. So Thanksgiving Day 2007, we're north of Sab al-Bor, which is north of Baghdad. And at that time, I was attached to an Estonian infantry platoon. And we had been on mission for like 2 days straight. We're really
Did you say Estonian?
Correct.
As in like former Soviet bloc country Estonia?
Oh, they hate Russians.
Okay, well, but I'm just saying that's the Estonia we're talking about, right?
Correct. Yeah, for a good part of Operation Iraqi Freedom, they would rotate an infantry platoon out there, so it was about 35 guys, and they operated out of Camp Taji and worked primarily in Sab al-Bor, and what their team rolled out in was essentially 2 dump trucks, and you would just ride around in a dump truck.
That's high class, man.
That shit's awesome. Dude, that's badass.
And so, imagine being just and there is nothing covering the dump truck. You've got a turret in the cab of the dump truck, and then you've got just rows of guys on your...
Like Aero Scout out the top.
So, yeah, I mean, if the enemy...
Fuck tracks. We're taking a dump truck.
Hey, I would
That's
totally
even better than the space shuttle insert.
In a zombie apocalypse. It would
what's up.
Yeah, F some shit up. But, so what we do that day, we're really damn tired, and then we get back into base. We get back into our little JSS, and our first sergeant brought us some cold-ass turkey because it was Thanksgiving, and we were like, thank you very much. And then we got another mission. And, all right, we'll do this one more mission, and we'll go back in. This mission ended up going till the sunrise, of course, because nothing's ever in and out. And what it was going after IED maker. And he lived, of course, in a really little shithole that had booby traps and IEDs in placed everywhere.
Hence the fact that he's a bomb maker.
Exactly. In the middle of nowhere. So we have to, our 2 dump trucks, and then I rolled out in a Humvee, and we're rolling out there. We had about 35 dismounts on the ground, and then gunners stayed in their vehicles. And we had choppers on station that were just scanning for IEDs. We found our guy. Guy tries to kill himself and kill the guys that were trying to, that had him detained and were walking him back to my truck by just walking into one of his own IEDs. And so once we caught that, we were a little pissed that the choppers on station didn't catch that in their signatures. So I called upstairs to say, let's do a couple more passes. And they're like, we've only got enough fuel for 5 minutes on station. Well, they do their passes, and we start finding second IED, third IED, fourth IED. So, after the second one, it was all troops halt, didn't want anybody to move, and immediately call an EOD. We had a very hairy situation where a lot could go wrong. I was a very young E4 promotable that was the only guy who really spoke English, and it was a
shit show.
Yeah, so we get this guy into our truck, And I had a really awesome driver, and we put him up on the gun so I could TC. And I was really mad at this asshole because he was trying to kill our guys. And he's in the back seat. He's blindfolded. We've got an interpreter, Merrill. He was Kuwaiti. He hated Iraqis, hated them with a passion. And Merrill was like, this guy's really bad. So I was like, Alibaba? Yes, he's Alibaba. And I said, what happened from there was George Bush wanted to blow up this guy's house. And I faked the phone call to George Bush. And we're doing this conversation, and this guy really thought I was talking to the president because I kept saying, yes, Mr. President, yes, Mr. President. And Harold's translating everything that's going on. And we're telling him he's going to jail for a very long time, and we're going to blow up his house. He didn't care about going to jail. He cared that his house was going to get blown up. And so as EOD was setting up their charges, we're moving back a little bit because they were taking care of all the IEDs. And so his back was, he had his back to his house. And we had like 5 controlled deaths go on simultaneously. And this guy seriously thought that we blew up his house. And it was, yeah, we were still pretty close. Yes. We were still pretty close. Like, we had rocks and rubble come through the Humvee. And he felt the energy wave, all of that stuff. And then I made another phone call to the president. And the interpreter's translating everything. And I said, we'll take him to Washington, D.C. for you. Well, Guantanamo Bay? Roger that. And so this guy, our gunner, he goes, dude, I think he just shit himself. And that's my story. I'm really bad at telling stories, but we thankfully our training and good leadership and the eyes in the air were able to get us through that night, and nobody lost their lives, and we put another bad guy in a shithole, and that's what it's all about, right?
There you go.
Amen, brother. Amen. Yeah, man, it's good that you're on such close terms with George W. That was a mission changer, right?
Texan.
Yep.
Hey, you said that was Thanksgiving Day 2007?
Oh, yeah.
I know exactly what Mike and I were doing on that day. We've already told this story like 4 times on the air, but long story short, we were in Kuwait already, and we were going to head home, and we were going to make it home by Thanksgiving evening, but as we were on the buses to the birds, like, we pull over and stop, and they jump in and say that our birds are down in Budapest and we're not going home on Thanksgiving. And so we go back to camp, whatever it was,
Virginia or some shit. Yeah,
we go back there for 3 days and just sit there depressed as fuck because we were gonna go home, and we're the last ones in our entire battalion to go back too.
Dude, it sucked also because all of our gear was already embarked. So you had everything that was in the day pack in November in Kuwait. And it was like, fuck this. You know what I mean? Like, it just sucked, man. Anyhow. So we both had shitty Thanksgivings.
And we're going to throw out another random story. We're ready to redeploy in 2008, sometime in March, to Kuwait, then back to Hood. And we're in the Baghdad airport ready to roll, and it starts fucking snowing. When the fuck does it snow in Baghdad, right? So our flight got delayed for, 24, 36 hours. But it was some snow in Baghdad. I just thought, the world was about to end or something. And, of course, you're ready to go.
Apocalyptic.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
Funny.
You're waiting for it to start raining frogs and shit at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hordes of locusts.
Fucking Lords of Hope.
Hey, so I've got something that's kind of been simmering in the back of my mind for a little over a year now, since I first met Tony and the whole group of you guys out at EBV in Syracuse. Tony, you probably don't remember some of our conversations. We never really got a chance to speak at great length, but we did have a few conversations while we were there. So this is sort of kind of going back to sort of the deeper, topic of, veteran advocacy and things like that. I had no idea the first time I talked to you what your background was. I'm not very good with my short-term memory, so when people introduce themselves and things like that, a lot of times, key elements of information just sort of blow right through one ear and back out the other. But I remember specifically a conversation that we had, no idea what it was about exactly, but I remember the gist of it was that I had made assumptions about some things that I thought were true, and you, I thought, were being very patient in explaining to me that I was about as fucked up as a freaking wet sea bag with a wet belt wrapped around it, without really being mean or angry towards me. I could tell you were a little bit perturbed that I had these preconceived notions, and that it was almost like, kind of like the guy that thinks he's got the answer to something, but if he tries to act on it, it's going to make things worse than if he had just left it alone. That was me. So I only bring that up because there's a lot of veterans out there that they're passionate about their new status as a veteran, and they're passionate about wanting to do something about all the things that they see going on in the world around them. And those first few days at EBV up there in Syracuse, being surrounded by all of you guys and all of the incredible things that were going on, and the synergy that we were experiencing, sort of aroused all these passions in me. I didn't go there to get all passionate about social ventures and veteran advocacy. I went there to make money, to learn how to do business and write a business plan and make money. And it probably wasn't more than 3 days into the program that I completely did a 180, and through conversations with Bennett and Michael and, people like you, Tony, and some of the other folks there in our class, I started kind of having this turn in my mentality. And all I wanted to focus on at that moment was, God, how can I help veterans? What can we do? And anyway, long story short is I didn't know what I didn't know. And, I think that's common in the veteran community, where a lot of us are probably a danger to ourselves when it comes to advocating for our own community, because we really don't know what we don't know. We don't apply any real academic rigor to researching information, finding out what's true and what's myth, because God knows there's a lot of myth out there about veterans, about PTSD, about all these different issues. And so anyway, long story short, I wanted to thank you for kind of that gentle lesson in a very brief conversation that you probably don't even remember, that helped me to you remember it? You do?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. No, your passion was definitely there, but it's one of those things. You might be, the next senator of North Carolina. One day I might want to work for you. So I always, when I meet people, and you weren't jacked up, your passion was there. You wanted to really get out and do some things and change some systems. And that's what it's all about. And I think you're being hard on yourself, brother, first and foremost. And then,
as usual,
we are our own worst enemies, critics, whatever you want to say. But, it all takes a lot of time. And, I certainly don't know anything, but I've been blessed in that I've had a lot of incredible mentors in my life, and I've gotten to work with a lot of incredible agencies and work with, here at Mental Health America Greater Houston, we get to work with some of the best and brightest in the state, in the medical center, in regards to policy, education, training, mental health, behavioral health, criminal justice system, veteran treatment courts. So the exposure to people, the ability to advocate, not just on behalf of one veteran, but on behalf of a constituency of veterans, the ability to go to your legislature and, take a whole bunch of college kids with you and advocate on legislation that makes Texas veteran friendly, and continues to provide opportunities for veterans and their families. That got taught to me. And so I'll never forget that. Yeah. Sharing what you know, that's what this is all about. And then continuing to understand that I'm a big firm believer that we cannot do it by ourselves. We need to integrate as much as possible with systems, with different branches of government. Veterans don't transition back to nonprofits, they transition back to communities. And communities are supported both federally, statewide, and locally, and by businesses and by volunteers and members of its community. So understanding that, and that there's so many stakeholders and there's so many people, and being able to coordinate that and work with leaders and really focus on key objectives that are measurable. And once you decide to set a goal, goals are mandatory. So that's how we get business done.
Well said. Well said. Especially, the part about sometimes being our own worst enemy. It's not that hard to take a look outside yourself and find, real information, or to find at least where to find it, or somebody that is a specialist in something in particular that can help guide you where you may otherwise just kind of flounder. The main takeaway, I guess, for me is that, we're never going to get anything done alone. We're only going to get it done, whatever it is, together. There's a lot of synergy when we work together to take on a lot of these issues. And they're important issues, and they are bigger than ourselves. It's one of the things that Bennett and I are trying to work on with Warrior Hall is trying to show veterans that they still can add value to their community, that they have something to offer. That can be their new mission. Once they take their uniform off for the last time, they don't have to be rudderless without any purpose in life. There's always a purpose. You just have to define it in your own heart and mind, and then go after it. So anyway, I really appreciate that time at EBV, and really appreciate you being on today. It's been an awesome conversation so far. And so, what other awesome stories do you have for us about bomb makers shitting themselves?
I'm gonna pivot back to North Carolina, if you don't mind, because I know I felt like we were bashing them very hard, and I want to come back and tell the great state of North Carolina that you have beautiful women, some really awesome beaches, and ACC basketball is the shit, and that's what it's all about, guys, right?
Well said. Well said.
Yes.
Yeah, I was sitting here kind of holding my tongue during the whole, bashing or comparison between states. I personally don't. I don't say don't. I would rather say didn't want to live in Eastern North Carolina. I didn't want to get stationed at Camp Lejeune, but I did.
It's because you're Hollywood. It's because you're Hollywood Marine.
Yeah. I got issued my sunglasses and suntan lotion when I went to boot camp and all that. But no, it's if I give it a fair shake and I think honestly about it, it's not that bad. And the beaches are awesome. My wife sent me a text from our daughter's football game. She's in the band and they were playing, during halftime and all that. And she sent me these pictures of the sunset from the bleachers, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's like the most beautiful sunset I've ever seen in my life."
There are some sick sunsets in North Carolina. I have to agree.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everything east of I-95 in North Carolina, it can be a little backwards, and it's different. You kind of got to get used to it, especially the chicken farms and the way they smell after a good rain. It really is beautiful, and there's a lot of good people here. And just to comment on your experiences with, reintegrating and being a veteran, I just started going back to school, in case you didn't know. Started this semester full-time at the local community college. And I'll be honest with you, I'm really pleasantly surprised with the support that I'm getting from not only my professors and fellow students, but, they just opened a new Veterans Success Center on campus. And me and the retired Marine that works there, who's a psychologist and an adjunct faculty, he and I are talking about starting a veterans club or organization on campus, and so there's, there really is a lot of interest in trying to support the community, and I'm sorry things didn't work out for you down in Wilmington. Hopefully they're better now. I hope.
I think so. The big part of that is, now that the wars have winded down for the most part. Veterans are transitioning back and they're using their GI Bill. They've graduated, and now, just like you guys, they're taking a stand. They're working for our universities. They're working in law enforcement. They're working, in local government, and they're making an impact and changing the way systems are running. And, when you hire a vet, that vet's going to make it a veteran-friendly place. And you see all these affinity groups that are out there. There's some incredible national veterans hiring initiatives. You were talking a little bit earlier, having veterans have a sense of purpose once again. Once they're able to find, something in life to pursue, and whether that be a career or, giving back to their community, having that sense of purpose again is key. And then they take the ball and run with it. That's the natural evolution of our transition. I just see so many of my peers that are making an impact in their respective industries. And then, great organizations like Student Veterans of America making an impact in our universities and colleges, and then being able to see all these hiring initiatives out there. It makes a big difference. It really does.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So as we're wrapping things up here, guys, I just wanted to know, for our listeners' sake, how do veterans get in touch with you?
So they can get in touch with me personally at cigarvethouston@outlook.com. We also have a Facebook page, Night for Vets. We are currently working on our domain, and once we do, we'll be getting that out there. Mm-hmm. Right now, we do all our events through the Facebook event pages, but to contact me directly is cigarvethouston@outlook.com, and again, our Facebook is Cigar Night for Vets.
Very cool. You heard them, folks. Look them up on Facebook. We'll get those links up also on our description page. So that way, if you're listening through the episode, just click on the description. You can see all the links, all the different images. So we'll share those with you folks. So that way you can link up with these guys. Carlos, Tony, thank you so much for coming on Cigars and Sea Stories.
Thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to speak about it.
Yeah, Michael, Tim, Sebastian, Bennett, wish you guys incredible success. I really enjoyed getting to hear a couple of your podcasts already, and I'm a fan, and I wish you so much success moving forward.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, brother.
Much appreciated, really.
Love to have you back anytime.
Thank you so much.
All right, gentlemen.
All right.
Wish you a great weekend.
Hey, take care and be well. Listeners, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Give us your comments, thoughts. Share it with your network. If you're a veteran and you see another veteran in need, hey, hook them up with some Cigars and Sea Stories. And on that note, cue the music.